guys, Xi Jinping might be trouble. The elders of the Communist Party might want to remove him from power, and that would be devastating to him, not only for his political status, but for his breathing status as well, because he might be dead if he gets removed from power. So, is one of the reasons he might be looking at opening up China to crypto to save its sagging economy, which could determine his fate? Well, it could actually be, because there could be a lot of economic growth in crypto, and if China can actually get in on that, they might be a hub for innovation. However, the structures, the anti-crypto structures that they've put in place, really are going to be hard to absolve, and they can't do it all at once. But the suddenly opening in Hong Kong and maybe the rest of China might be a sign that Xi is desperate for anything to bolster the flagging economy. And the flagging economy is kind of his own fault. The disastrous handling of COVID back in China, the almost riots that it caused, and that Xi actually had to step down, plus the international tensions of actually being on Russia's side in this type of like a foreign war without actually directly aiding Russia. There's like hardening stances against China in the West and really bad domestic stances at home. His failure to appear at the G20 brought some questions, and also his aide basically being tackled by a security guard, which was hilarious, by the ways, also brought some questions as well. So the Communist Party and the Chinese economy is not looking good, and that's where he draws all of his credibility. So the elders are actually talking about removing him from power, and this is not like an American president. You know, when he basically foregoes power, he just goes back to his regular life. I think like pretty much everyone aside from 45 has essentially done that. You look at Bush, Obama, Reagan, Clinton, Carter, and all those people before him. They all just retired to their normal lives. Xi Jinping can't actually do that because he's made a lot of enemies. See, the thing is, like the last two Chinese leaders, Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao, they actually like took the pragmatic approach to a lot of things, and they actually made a lot of friends and allies while in office, so no one would want to pwn them once they actually left office. Xi Jinping, in his infinite wisdom, in order to declare himself supreme emperor of China forever, he made a lot of enemies, he offed a lot of people, and those people have relatives and allies that are just waiting for him to lose power to pwn him for good. There's a lot of people that actually want vengeance for Xi Jinping, and that's like one thing that the outside world, people looking on in the outside world don't know. The politics within China are different than, like, say, in the West, where you can just step down from power and then go live your normal life. The politics in China are basically like, you know, if you made a lot of friends during your administration, you're set for life. But if you're Xi Jinping and you decide to basically pwn all your opponents, then there's a lot of people that have it out for you, and the only thing that's protecting you is your own political status and power. So he cannot actually afford to lose the status and power he has now, or he's going to be dead in a while. Him and maybe his family as well. We've seen this for political retribution before. A lot of his opponents still hold political positions, so he cannot afford to lose his power. So he would do anything to hold on to his power. But the leadership, the elders and the political bureau might actually be turning against him because China is just not doing very well. Their economy is in a much, much more sorry state in the United States. They have really no way to fix the structural problems. And I don't think he can pull a magic bunny out of a hat to basically solve all these issues. So that actually might be prompting his willingness to actually try out crypto because he sees a brand new market that could be worth trillions of dollars. He already made the mistake of basically telling all the miners to get out of China because he could have tried to control the Bitcoin network because China did have over 50% of the hash rate. He's like, whoops, well, you guys can come back. And they're like, nah, bro, we're not coming back. So he might have already screwed up that one. But him opening up crypto for crypto business in China, doing the metaverse thing, this could be his like attempts to grasp, to hold on to power and to turn the economy around so he can actually stay in power because he is losing a lot of credibility. So it is definitely a possible scenario. I mean, if you look at the headlines, some of them from China itself, some of them from abroad. China's Xi fights fires at home and abroad. And this is basically an excerpt from today's Worldview newsletter. So China's domineering leaders seem to be fighting fires. So abroad, obviously the West is hardening its stance against China, one against because of Russia and one for other things. And there's a lot of friction as well. At home, Xi presides over a hinge of moment for the Chinese economy. Its meteoric growth has slowed. A brief post-pandemic surge petered out. Yes, they were recovering post-pandemic, but it kind of petered out because demand is not there. There's not enough people buying the stuff. And China's not a consumer economy, and the West sanctions have definitely hurt it. And there's like a huge amount of structural issues between how many old people they have and how many young people they have, and how they cannot keep up their social services, trying to increase retirement age, and their program of like basically breeding program of trying to get people to have more kids is not working because kids are way too expensive. Doing it for the glory of the Chinese nation and Xi Jinping is not a great motto that young people are planning to follow. Well, maybe doing it, but not having kids. So like the country's population is shrinking and aging, which is devastating for the economy. And of course, like that results in a reduced productivity of the workforce. And of course, like it's bad enough that the government actually like just didn't publish the numbers as much anymore. And of course, the youth unemployment is basically catastrophic because demand is actually sagging. And of course, like when you have like 40% of their youth unemployed, youth is like 16 to 24 unemployed. And 16 to 24, that does not include the students that are actually going to school or college. So basically the people that aren't going to school or college, they're basically unemployed, means they have waning optimism. And the macroeconomic data is basically not very good. China's had massive growth over the last 30 years, but that growth is about to stop mainly because of its one-child policy during the last 30 years. It's produced less kids and less workers. So there's really no way out of this, and he's trying new things. And basically, like, essentially, like crypto might be one of his only ways out. Also, like he did actually fail to appear at the G20. And another hilarious thing is a Chinese aide hurrying to catch up with Xi, only to be body slammed by security guards and held back. And Xi was ignoring that. That basically shows the ensuing chaos. And at the BRICS summit in South Africa, he also made headlines when he failed to appear at the leaders' meeting to deliver a scheduled speech. And there are basically doubts about his health. I actually don't think his health is all that bad, but I definitely think he is in a lot of trouble politically at home. And he's also had a lot of natural disasters and economic headwinds. And of course, that just erodes his credibility with the public. His inability to actually handle that stuff questions his leadership skills. And people are saying it's obvious he had a bad summer. From the International Committee to academia, Chinese people, and the political elite, Cohen says there's a lot of signs of dissatisfaction. Remember, the only reason Chinese people were satisfied with Xi Jinping and they were allowed him to be emperor is because he kept the economy going and he kept the good times going. Well, now those good times are stopping and they're starting to reverse. And that's really, really bad news for Xi Jinping. So he has to look to somewhere to keep that economy going, to keep people happy and to keep making money. And he has to actually prop the retail market up or the retail land market up, because if he doesn't, then the entire economy basically crashes because all of people's net worth is in housing. So he cannot afford to have housing crash at any extent, but he is actually running out of ways. So he actually might be going for crypto. And obviously, like crypto, the market cap is $1 trillion right now, and it will be several trillion in the future. So we can see a lot of economic activity, and Xi probably sees dollar signs in the crypto. So he needs to slowly undo the damage he's done to Chinese crypto over the last 5 years, which is going to be really, really hard. And so like maybe he will go all in on this crypto thing, turn around his stance, and hopefully that for him will actually power China into the next generation. You can't really do much about the population issue, but you can get people on this like new market, have them invest and have them make a lot of money, and maybe that will actually keep them happy, because nothing else really is going Xi Jinping's way right now. And if he's removed from power, he's basically a goner. And that probably has him really, really scared and willing to try anything. And right now, like, there are really no options for him. Like the only thing right now is trying to basically use crypto to boost up the market. So you're seeing Hong Kong come online, and I do think Beijing and other places are going to come online in the next year or two as he flails and looks for ideas. The West is going to clamp down on him. His alliance with Putin and Russia isn't making him look any better, the West, making him look a lot worse. And I just don't really think he has that many more options. There's no economic outs this time. There's not the massive economic growth of the early 2000s or the late 1990s to actually bolster him. And he desperately needs to actually gain back some credibility because his handling with COVID was really, really poor. It made China lose a lot of international face, and it actually made a lot of the Chinese people lose confidence in Xi Jinping. Plus, their economies are sagging right now, and there's no way for them to actually get it back up. So, due to all those factors, I do believe Xi Jinping is going to look for things like crypto, and I do think like crypto can get a lot of adoption in China, at least in terms of investment, just to keep people speculating and keeping hopes up for the country. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.